George Houssney decided to give his life to God at 12 years old, but like so many of us, making that decision didn't mean there wasn't still work to be done in his heart and attitude. George, for you, it was a lot about hatred toward Muslims because you grew up in Lebanon and there was a lot of fighting back and forth and things done to each other. Tell me about how becoming a Christian started confronting that, oh, I'm not supposed to hate.
I actually used to enjoy beating on little kids who are Muslims. And if one of my friends did not like someone, they bring him to me, say he's a Muslim. Even if he's not, I began to beat them up. And I joined the militia when I was 9 because my house was destroyed by a Muslim invasion of our Christian neighborhood in Tripoli, Lebanon. And so I wanted to kill Muslims. Of course, I was too young to actually engage in battle, but I was preparing for it.
Wow.
But when I finally confronted Jesus and invited him into my life, not like just into my heart, just my whole life, everything turned around. The lying, the deceiving, the bad, foul mouth I had and so on, I had a conscience all of a sudden that these are things I shouldn't be doing. And one of the most important changes is how I think of my enemies. Jesus said, love your enemies. So I was face to face with a Muslim when I first was invited to come and share my faith with a Muslim. Knocked on his door with this friend who was encouraging me, and I found him as a human being. I didn't find him as a terrorist or someone who was trying to kill me, but as a human being. And from that moment till now, I've dedicated my life to sharing my faith, sharing the gospel with Muslims all over the world.
This is an important thing to talk about, I think, because as we see kind of extreme Islam rise in the world and some of the terrorist acts that have been done, a lot of people who never grew up in a cultural situation of hate now have begun to have kind of a discrimination and a racism almost enter their heart toward people of Muslim background. What would you say to people that are struggling with that, saying, but they hate us and they're trying to kill us?
That's true. There are those who want to kill us. But Francis Schaeffer was one of my mentors. And he said the worst criminal still has the image of God in him. We need to see the potential of these people. They don't want to kill us because they're bad people, but because they were told that this is a good thing to do for God. And so we need to confront the ideology without hating the people. So like God hates sin, but he loves the sinner. We need to love Muslims, whether they're terrorists or not. Love all people.
Yeah.
And so I have confronted personally, I've seen Muslims who had a gun to my head, and yet God gave me love for them. And one situation where I was kidnapped to be killed, and yet I don't know exactly why, but I believe they saw love in my eyes.
Wow.
He said, you're a good man, I can't kill you, let me go. And so loving people is not easy, especially if they are trying to hurt you, but it is a requirement. It is the only way to confront evil.
I think that's so true. You know, we can't make excuses anymore. We have to do what the Bible says, and that's how the world's going to know that we're different. I think you're such an inspiration. Thank you so much for coming to share your story and for all that you do.
Thank God, to the glory of Jesus.
And maybe you have been growing up in the church and you've been around Christianity your whole life, but you never actually had that moment where you said, yeah, I really want to commit, or this is really real. If you want to just explore your faith a little bit more, to find out more about it, maybe to find out who Jesus is, we'd love for you to give us a call. We have people standing by all day and all night who would just love to pray with you and talk with you. If that's a journey you're on, that number is 1-866-273-4444. We'll be right back.